Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of MGR Unplugged. I'm here with David again. David? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hi. So we have a few things today to discuss. Every week is full of stories and everything, and this week we're gonna focus mostly on e-commerce news and facts. So we have a few updates on the Walmart Shopify new partnership that was just announced, I think, a couple of days ago or earlier this week, I think.
Yep.
Then we're going to discuss the retail sales, which seem to be picking up for now. Deconfinement starting to happen in most of the states. Facebook, that also leads to Facebook advertising costs and overall online advertising rates going up again, even probably now higher than they used to be. And then finally, we're going to talk a little bit about the what has been nicknamed as the GAFA tax, which is the European, started in France actually, is the tax that they're trying to impose into the American tech companies, most of the major ones, like GAFA, meaning Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon. So it's a little controversial thing, and there's a lot of war between the European economic ministers and the U.S. counterparts, including Trump himself. So we'll go through that briefly just to see what is going on with that. But before that, let me just roll the music and get started.
None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
All right, welcome back, David. So first of all, Walmart Shopify, you actually brought it up to me. I didn't even hear about it until early this week. I think Monday, Tuesday. I forgot when it was. I think it was Monday. And it's funny because we've been discussing these partnerships lately with Facebook Shops, and Google is doing their own thing with Google Shops or whatever they call it, Google
Shopping.
Okay, Google Shopping. And then now Walmart, who's not the first time they tried some kind of partnership too, are also partnering with Shopify, creating some kind of combined marketplace, I believe, right? So could you, I know you sent the email on Tuesday. I had to admit that I haven't read it yet. I know.
Well, you wouldn't have so many questions if you just read the email.
I think it's easier to just ask you. I know I'm going to have you on the podcast, so I just basically focus on the important emails. Just kidding.
Yeah, basically they made a partnership that was between the two. So if you're a Shopify seller, you can now apply to be on Walmart's marketplace, walmart.com. And if you are approved, then it's not like Amazon where you have to make listings and everything custom for Amazon. They just basically pull from your Shopify catalog and put it directly on Walmart. And your orders and everything go through your Shopify dashboard. So you basically are adding an extra distribution channel without having to even really monitor it.
So it really looks more like a Facebook Shops or Facebook partnership that they have they have already with Shopify, right? Where you have your catalog that is synced
similar.
up with Facebook. And then, well, with Shops is different, but before with Facebook, people will click and then the checkout and everything will happen at your store. So with Walmart, it looks like it's going to be more on that
Yeah, they're
social
just trying to
media
make it
integration.
seamless. So if you're a Shopify seller or merchant, you can just basically connect to Walmart and you're done. And then all the orders come in through your dashboard is the same as any other normal order.
Okay, so as always, the devil is in the details. So do you know details of transaction costs? What is Walmart's fee or
Yeah,
take,
Walmart
or-
has different cuts, just like every other company does. Off the top of my head, I don't know all of their cuts. It depends on the category, but yeah, they take a percentage cut. The interesting thing, the more interesting thing to me is down the road. Walmart launched their Fulfilled by Walmart, which is very similar to Amazon, FBA. That was select merchants could use it, and it hasn't been opened up broadly, and they didn't mention it necessarily in this partnership, but I would anticipate that down the road that Walmart wants to pursue that even more to compete with Amazon. So the more interesting thing to me will be when Walmart launches that, how many merchants will jump on board saying, yeah, Walmart can handle my fulfillment for Walmart orders in the same way that Amazon will fulfill orders for your Amazon orders. But they haven't announced that yet. We'll see. They actually announced that back in February, right before the whole coronavirus thing. So what their plans for that are exactly, I don't know. And how, if they are going to continue, if they're delayed. I don't know. But obviously, if they're making partnerships like this, it's because they are very much looking to expand their e-commerce footprint. So we'll see. That's more interesting. But the bigger question to me is it worth it for Shopify merchants right now?
Well, I was going to ask you that. What is the? Are there any? Is there any criteria to join or to be able to?
Yeah, you have to apply.
You have to apply.
I don't know.
Where's the application approved or denied based on?
Exactly,
is it based on volume or types of goods that you sell or?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be based on the types of products you sell, because obviously certain categories, it's the same as Amazon. Certain categories you need more approvals. So if you sell like supplements or skincare products, whatever, anything that people consume or anything like that, obviously you need extra approvals for that. Now, as far as like apparel, I don't think there's probably going to be much of an approval process. Sales volume, I'm sure they will take into account. They didn't really specify those details, but they made it sound like the majority of Shopify sellers could just sell on Walmart.
When is that going to be available? As far as
I think it's like now,
like you can add it as a channel. I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's pretty new. But I'll try it as soon as we can with some of our client stores. I'll see.
Yeah, but the dangerous part with it is that they want your data.
Well, that's always the case, yeah.
And the difference between Walmart and Amazon is that Amazon is just way bigger than Walmart. Like Walmart is obviously huge for retail, but in e-com, Amazon is 10 times larger than Walmart. Walmart makes up, I think, roughly 4 or 5% of the U.S. e-commerce revenue, whereas Amazon is basically half. So don't expect like massive volume to come from Walmart. The thing that I don't know, I don't think that Walmart is above Amazon in terms of morality of saying, okay, we're going to get your data, because Target was doing the same thing. Target was partnering with D2C companies and then basically taking a lot of the data. And then for those of you who don't know, the way Target is different from most retail stores is probably half of the stuff you see in Target is private label by Target. So they make much higher margin on that. That's how Target makes their money. And so they were basically partnering with D2C brands, taking their data, taking their product ideas, taking their brand development ideas, and basically just using it and launching their own internal brands with the distribution of Target stores, and then severing relationships with these D2C brands.
Right.
So it's like, I never trust any big company, because they're only going to work with you when
they want your information and your data and your development R&D.
They work with you so long as they need you. But the second they think that they could make even a little bit more money screwing you over, they will screw you over. They don't care. They don't care about you. I mean, Walmart is notoriously ruthless when it comes to retail buying. I mean, they are. There's so many.
But retailers need to be smart too. I mean, they are also using each other. This is a situation where it's one of those symbiotic relationships where you say, okay, I know you're going to eventually take advantage of me, and I'm also going to take advantage of the fact that you're a major retail store with much more budget and presence than I have.
But here's the thing, though.
And
Walmart.com doesn't have that much reach. You're not going to Walmart retail.
It's growing. I mean, it didn't have definitely anything just a few years ago, but now it's been growing, and they finally, seems like they have their own advertising platform and all that, and they've been kind of catching up and trying to compete with Amazon like everybody else.
My point was that Walmart was going to, because Walmart's investing so heavily into it, Walmart was going to get big with or without this partnership. Like, basically, they were going to be able to draw in merchants with or without this partnership, because they're just investing heavily. And if they get the customer base, then tons of merchants are going to come there. So they were going to get a lot of these Shopify merchants to join anyways, with or without this partnership. But this partnership allows them to get much more data than they would usually get.
Yes, but also allows them to partner with them or join Walmart in a much more seamless way. You know, that is basically, if it's Shopify, I know how they work.
Right, but I'm saying, yeah, they're making, but that's what I'm saying. They're making it easy on purpose.
Right.
Because they want that merchant data. They're not going to make it hard. Like, one of the things with Amazon is that they make it hard these days to, if you are a new seller.
tech barrier of entry as far as
not just tech, just like getting approval. They want all types of documentation and all this shit. Walmart, I don't think wants any of that. They want basic stuff, but they try to make it as easy as possible. Amazon does the opposite. Now, Amazon, it's because they have such an influx and they have so many fraudsters and scammers that they have to do that to basically keep those people out. But obviously it hurts the good people too. I wasn't super excited by this. I heard mixed reactions. Some people said, "Oh, this is awesome." I'll say this: I just want more competition for Amazon, and this is obviously
that's the whole thing. I mean, I was just researching about this right before the podcast, and every article that I read is basically focusing more on how much will this be a competition for Amazon, more than the actual partnership with Amazon. I mean, with Walmart and Shopify. They actually estimated that about 1,200 Shopify sellers will probably partner, which to me is not a big number. I mean, from all the Shopify users, for one, you're limited to the US, which is not worldwide. Secondly,
yeah, but Walmart isn't worldwide.
They have stores.
Well, they have in certain countries, but for the most part, Walmart is
exactly.
US.
But either way, I mean, Walmart is domestic, and
they're trying to be more international, but they're still very much US.
Right, and then from all the Shopify stores that are in the nation, in the US, they said they expected about 1,200 to join this partnership. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's because, like you said, they sell retail, clothing, or something that is easy to just list versus things that have a little more of a challenge as far as being approved.
What would be much more interesting to me is if Walmart said, okay, we're going to have a program for Shopify sellers that you work with Walmart.com, and then if you are able to hit certain growth or sales thresholds, then we'll give you an opportunity to sell in Walmart stores. That would be a big deal.
But then there's also the issue of certain brands that I don't like to be associated with Walmart.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Obviously, Walmart is... It's not anybody that sells premium, forget about luxury, but even premium is probably not going to want to be in Walmart. So this is obviously only for a certain
type of products and brands that want to be associated with Walmart as a store, because like you said, any medium to higher end brand is not even nowhere to be seen on Walmart, so it's not the partnership that they want to have.
If they made a potential route that was clear to get into retail stores, saying, like I said, like if you meet certain sales thresholds on Walmart.com, we will give you test rollouts and opportunities to sell in Walmart stores. That would be a much bigger deal to me, because that's real distribution. That's basically Walmart wants the value from the Shopify sellers without giving them too much value back. But if they offered them the opportunity to get in Walmart stores, that's the real value play. And so if they did that, which maybe they will do, I don't know, that would interest me much more. Then I would say, okay, maybe this is something that's worthwhile.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking is that maybe Walmart will give a special advertising rate for the online advertising to the sellers that Shopify has. Because Walmart has their own advertising service now, or server or agency in-house, similar to...
They do, but how are they going to do that? It's just auction-based. How are you going to discount auction?
But they can give you... It's auction-based within their system, so they can give you a discounted rate as far as per 1,000 impressions or whatever, or maybe less fees from sales or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking that there has to be a little bit of an incentive for people to say, okay, I'm going to be with
they
this
can do
Walmart
ad
thing.
Credits.
Right.
But they don't want to do that. They want to make money from advertising. That's the thing. That's why I'm saying that it's not that beneficial for Shopify sellers, because you go there and it's not like you're just going to get sales. You have to promote your store on top of that. So they want you not just to put your products on Walmart so that they can get a cut from them, but also to spend money on their advertising platform, send some of your customers to Walmart. That's why I'm saying it's not so clear to me the exact value proposition here for this Shopify seller.
I wouldn't send my customers to Walmart. I would just wait for them to somehow be recommended. When you search for something on Walmart algorithm is going to recommend, oh, there's a similar product here.
Yeah, but if someone's searching directly for your product, then Walmart's stealing that sale from you, because they could just buy it on your website. Walmart's only valuable for new customers who don't know who you are, and the same thing with Amazon. But if they're just people who are searching whatever your product is and then buying it on Walmart, well, then Walmart's just getting a cut for nothing, because they could just buy it from you directly.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's
the only-
correct.
the
I
only
don't know how many
advantage-
people will do that if I'm buying
Well,
something.
lots of people do it. I mean, we run campaigns for Amazon clients all the time, and it's always a balance of I can see sales that come because obviously we have to bid on our own keywords because with our brand name because competitors
No, and
will.
yeah.
So I can see this is how many people bought from just searching directly in the Amazon search bar.
And
our brand.
Walmart has the ability to offer us 2-day delivery, even in some places also same-day delivery or
no,
1-day
not
delivery.
for this because that's with their fulfillment plan.
Right.
But right now, it's the Shopify person's responsibility to fulfill it.
Oh, okay. So they don't even have they
no
can't
shipping.
even offer the shipping part.
That's what I was saying would be more interesting if they did, if they
Okay.
had their fulfillment, but they haven't done that yet. There was
Okay.
not announced here, basically.
Okay. Yeah, that would be the thing that is the real deal. Not always sell for you, but you still fulfill it because I don't even know if some of the stores will be able to, if they get a massive influx of traffic coming up for Walmart, do they have the infrastructure to fulfill those orders at the right time? If they're used to selling.
That'll be a good problem. I don't
Right.
think anybody,
I know it's a good
I
problem,
don't think
but it's still
anybody's
a
going
problem.
to get a massive influx of traffic from Walmart.
Right.
That's
but
the thing.
you're used to selling 25, 30 units a day of whatever you sell. And now all of a sudden you have 60, double, maybe. I don't know. Depending on the Walmart traffic and all that stuff. Then that's a significant change for improvement or adjustment.
But how are you going to get
for-
that, though?
Right.
It doesn't happen like magic.
No, it's just when you go to the Walmart marketplace. I'm just saying in case if I'm looking for...
I'd be much more concerned of, I put my stuff on Walmart and nobody's finding it because
Right.
I'm not spending money to promote it, which Walmart wants me to do.
No, I think when I go to Walmart as testing stuff and for other clients, I see that I'm looking for a product, but Walmart is basically recommending. In fact, they have a wicked system there because even when you go to your particular product on the top, instead of like Amazon that does it at the bottom that says customers also looked for these products or bought these products, Walmart has it at the top. So even before you get to your product, sometimes you see other competitors' products at the top, and then you get down to the one that you're looking for. So I'm just saying if Walmart algorithm just kind of puts other products and then you get your product listed with somebody that is looking for something else, So anyways, we'll see how it goes. So is implemented effective now?
Yeah, I think it's available.
All right, we'll check it out. We'll have a follow-up on this in the next few weeks once we may actually add it to some of our clients because I know that we're big into trying to get into Walmart. So we may even be able to do that. So, which leads me into the next topic, which is actually retail sales. We saw this week too that retail sales in May, which is, if we remember, we started deconfining the country at the mid to the end of May, and so retail sales in May, meaning physical retails, not online, were up almost 18% compared to April. So that's actually the highest increase month to month ever, which obviously is not unusual because of the situation we had when everybody was forced to be home or confined for the entire month of pretty much half of March.
But it's still way down.
Yeah,
year over year.
I'm going to get to that. So basically, retail sales were up 18% average. Okay, there's groups that were higher and lower. But we're still down about 6-7% year over year, basically compared to May in 2019. So, but the thing is that as we noticed, just ourselves, just going around, retail stores like clothing stores and were the ones that benefited the most. There's other sales that were not that increased. Obviously, travel and other stuff was not really picking up just yet. Auto sales were okay. But clothing stores and normal big box stores and stuff were having quite a bit of sales. So that's a sign that people were just, trying to get out, and do something. And a sign that some people, well, like we said, they had some money to spend. And they were just trying to get out and do stuff and buy it, despite the fact that they have this social distancing of masks and everything else. They still didn't prevent them from going out and buy things.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. Obviously, people, if you don't go out for 2 months, 3 months, then it's like, oh yeah, let's go out. But then let's see how things recover within another 3 months from now and where things are at.
Well, yeah, I mean, to that end, the outlook from retailers is not that bright. It's not like they think, oh, we're going to go back to normal in the next 2-3 months. In fact, they're still, right now we're seeing already the number of cases and things spiking a little bit in some states, including ours. And some people say, yeah, they're spiking just because we have more wide testing right now that everybody's being tested. But it's also not just that. They also say that there's more contact type spread of the virus, and they say that they may have to go back to put more restrictions in terms of how the things start opening up, or for places where people congregate, like even shopping, retail stores, or even sporting venues and things like that. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, I think it's a good sign. I mean, I think with everything was closed completely, and then you see that one of the things that we were talking about is that people, it is one thing when you open the stores, another thing is when people would be ready to go out, because some people were still afraid to go out, saying, okay, well, I'm not quite ready to go to a restaurant, or I'm not quite ready to go to a movie theater, which obviously they're still not open, or I'm not ready to go shopping just yet, or try clothes or things, So it seems like people are going out. We'll see how this maintains, or if we even get levels to the same levels that we were last year at this time. And we were talking about what's going to happen this year when we get to the holiday season, which is kind of far away, but it's still close enough to start planning, with the Black Fridays and the Cyber Mondays, and how much of the holiday season will be in-store shopping versus online shopping, because online sales have been skyrocketing too. So any questions, comments on that? Any
No, I mean,
I mean, you've seen it. I mean, we talk all the time when we go to just going around driving, and you see the stores.
No, I mean, I don't like to use anecdotal data. I just like to look at the actual data.
Well, this is the actual data.
But overall, I mean, yeah, you're gonna see a quick bounce. Yeah, like restaurants have been doing really well as things reopened because people want to go to restaurants. Okay, that's great. I understand. But where will things be in another 3 months? That's what matters more. Tons of these companies have already declared bankruptcy. I mean, we're looking at more than a third of all U.S. malls being shut down. So retail is not going to just bounce back like nothing happened, basically. So even though you see 18% growth, biggest growth ever, well, yeah, because we've never had everything.
I mean, all
shut
it takes
down
is
before.
we had 0 customers,
It's still
and now
down.
we have 18.
I mean,
That's 18%.
even last month, even with the growth again, like one of the categories that was hurt the most was apparel. I mean, apparel is still down like 40% for the year over year, basic sales. So,
well, yeah.
I mean, people don't go out; they don't need to buy clothes,
Right.
and like that is a lot of things. So. Not to mention that, yeah, when you have 40 million people who lose their jobs, some people save more money. This is the thing. I think that one of the categories that was least affected was actually luxury. Why? Because who was affected by this pandemic the most financially? Rich people were fine. Most people who make money can work from home. And they were fine. It was the basically lower income people, or people who work service jobs, in-person jobs, things like that a lot of times have less money. They were affected. But those people don't buy luxury products anyways. Right. So it seems like the premium luxury area wasn't really affected as much, but everything that was middle and lower market was very, very roughly affected. And I don't think that those are going to come back right away either.
Right. Well, one of the things that's clear is that the habit of buying online has been pretty much established now with majority of population. I mean, the online growth of online shopping has been pretty dramatic, as we discussed before, over the last 6 to 8 weeks, and that also leads me to the next topic, which is we're talking about Facebook or online advertising costs, and we just came up with actually I have them here. This is the latest numbers from Facebook advertising, and we can see how in January we're at this is CPM, or cost per 1,000 impressions, and we had January was at 859, then February peaked, and then when the pandemic officially started, as far as shutting down things, it went way low because most of the advertising pulled out, and then advertisers started realizing, hey, we need to go back online because that's where people are these days. So it went up to 886, and now we're back to 957 for this is just cost per 1,000 impressions. But the thing that actually amazed me more, this is by sector and by the cost per click, which is really obviously what we're looking at sometimes. This is January, it was 71 cents, and then February, and then it spiked again in April when we started opening, and now is the highest it's been so far this year. Now we're paying, the average for Facebook, Instagram is 101. So clicks are becoming much more expensive, which means there's much more demand for that ad space and that click. So demand means that in the beginning there was a lot of social media users that we noticed, but there was not so much buying because people were like still kind of trying to find their way around and trying to go to the stores and trying to find supplies. And then it got to a point where stores were basically shut down. Most of the non-essential business like supermarkets and things like that. So people had to buy online, and then the only way you buy online is either you go to Amazon, which was the big winner, or you advertise your online sales, on retail stores, and that's what indicates basically the cost of advertising. So I wonder, I don't know if you have more data from your day-to-day campaigns, but I wonder how much more that is going to increase from here to the end of the year as far as, because I mean, we see that it's normal that in January is lower because that's after the end of the year.
January, I wish these guys had expanded it more because
Right.
January is one of the lowest of the year because you come right off November, December where you have the highest ad rates
Right.
of the year. Yeah, I mean, over a dollar click average. So the problem with these charts, though, too, is it's broad across all of Facebook, which is like not that helpful because depending on what you advertise, you spend much more or much less. Or I should say, can afford to spend much more or much less. So a dollar per click is very generic, and there's some sectors that maybe they're paying less per click right now than normal, and there's other sectors where they're paying way more per click than normal. It just depends. It's the same thing with it's no different than like search ads, like
Right.
if I say the average search ad is $2 a click, but then there's some that are 10, some that are 1. So it's
well, I understand,
pretty
but we're
broad.
measuring apples to apples, so we're saying, okay, the average in January was 0.71.
No, overall
so,
it is certainly up because the biggest, I think I
I mean,
mentioned
it's
this.
almost a 50% increase from January right there.
Yeah, like I said, January is
January is
off
probably
month.
lower.
I'd like to see year over year compared
But
to
I mean,
last
even
May.
February, which is when things start to pick up, and it went to 76.
Do they happen to have year over year compared to last May?
I don't think so. My objective, I don't think they go back.
Yeah.
I will have
Anyways,
to look.
yeah, I mean, CPMs have been going up. They were going up constantly for years, and then over the last year and a half, probably maybe year and a half, maybe even 2 years actually now. They've pretty much flatlined as far as CPM growth goes, just because we kind of reached a plateau where a lot of people weren't marketing on Facebook, and then more and more started to. I think one of the biggest reasons why we're seeing marketing now. Okay, you're not gonna find it. It's fine. Oh, is this it?
Yeah, no, I'm looking for the information you were asking.
That's 2019. Anyways, what was I saying? You distracted me.
No, you were talking about the differences between year over year versus now, and then how it varies. basically.
I was saying, I think I said this a week ago or 2 weeks ago, that one of the reasons why the CPMs I think are going up so much now is because a lot of the ad inventory that other companies were spending have disappeared. So billboard ad spending is way down because there's way less people out seeing outdoor media. TV ad spending is way down because the biggest revenue driver for TV ads is sports. And there's no sports. So all those budgets are basically now overall ad spend is down for the year quite a bit, actually. I think it's down it's more than
Are you talking overall online or overall?
global ad spend.
Yeah, well,
Global
yeah.
ad spend is down like 12%, I think.
Or, yeah, I think even more. But that's most of the television advertising is being killed, basically.
But basically, a lot of the budgets that were going to other places are now going online. And especially when times get tough, people go to the things that have direct results, basically. So if you have a big, let's say I have $1 million a month marketing budget, and I say, okay, well, I'm going to spend $250 on print, I'm going to spend $250 on
Right.
Facebook, $250, right? And I kind of split it up. But then all of a sudden my budget gets slashed because we are hurting to $500,000 instead of $1 million a month, and I need to really make it work. I'm going to say, okay, Facebook, Instagram, maybe some Google, basically things that bring direct results. All of this stuff that is for impressions and brand, and that gets thrown right out the window.
So one question that we get now from some of our clients, and that could be in any sector, whether it's in retail or hospitality or services, businesses, is, okay, now let's assume that things start getting back to the new normal, assuming that there's no second wave, so things like that. So we'll start getting into the summer and everything is more or less under control. There might be spikes in cases or something, but we are kind of controlling the situation and people are going back to work with certain conditions, whatever. But if you're in charge of advertising, what changes your strategy from before all this happened, whatever plan you had in January for the rest of 2020, and then you had to basically axe the plan in mid-February to March for all this situation, and now we're looking forward to the second half of the year. What would you change? Would you go back to your original plan, or you say no? Well, now I need to adjust. Obviously, not exactly to the original plan, but do you go back to saying, okay, well, let's go back to online advertising, or let's focus more on local advertising versus if I was doing more of a global campaign, given the fact that traveling is still kind of a challenge?
Oh, I mean, it totally depends on what you're advertising. I mean, it's super contextual. What is the? Can you give me like an example?
Yeah. Let's just say a hotel.
A hotel. Fuck, that's totally different. I mean, I don't know. A hotel. I mean, hotels. I would just be basically paying very, very close attention to all of the daily travel numbers and what legislators and regulators are saying about travel. Hotels are tough, honestly. I don't know what much to say about hotels other than hope that people decide they want to start traveling soon and that there's not the regulations basically get removed soon on all these travel restrictions. But other than that, there's not much a hotel can do.
Well, I mean,
if you're selling products, it's different. I mean, that's why I asked you. But
right.
Yeah, well, hotels. Let me give you. That's my answer.
Right. Well, obviously it depends on where they are too. I mean, a hotel in Arizona now is getting into the summer, which is the low season, no matter what. So Arizona hotels or off-season hotels usually advertise more to the local, what they call staycations or local traffic, local guests, because they know that people are not going to come here when it's super hot, so they try to get like a family or weekend getaway for the local, residents, so to speak. And that might be a little tough, because on top of the fact that it's like, okay, well, just going down 3 miles on the street or 10 miles on the street or whatever to a hotel is like, now I need to go to a hotel where it's not going to be very hospitable, like it's not going to be, I'm going to have to wear a mask, I'm going to have the social distance, the restaurant may or may not be open, the pool is going to be, but I'll tell you, for example, I just traveled across country last weekend, and I actually went from Arizona to all the way to Washington, D.C., Fairfax, Virginia area stuff. And I was surprised because the airlines or the airports were fairly okay, for a normal travel. I mean, if you don't tell me that there's a pandemic or something and the people were with masks in the terminals and all the stuff, or lounges or on the planes and stuff, it was okay as far as number of people. Now, the hotels, I studied in a hotel there in Virginia, and it was completely unprepared for this situation. I mean, as much as they said that, we're going to do this and that, I mean, the changes that they made were so inconvenient for the guest. There was nothing, and this is just maybe an isolated case, but it was a courtyard. It was a courtyard by Marriott in the middle of Virginia, of Washington, D.C. area. And it was so unprepared as far as making it comfortable for the guest, despite the fact that we have this extra situation. Everything was like, okay, to enter the hotel, you need your reservation. You can only reserve online before. You cannot talk to the service person at registration. You have to wait and push this button to enter. I mean, it's like you're getting into a chamber or something, with all these things. And then you go to the elevator, but then you get to the room. I didn't see nothing, no difference in the room, nothing. There was not even a bottle of sanitizer, nothing. I mean, it was basically dead. I mean, I'm thinking if this is what hotel experience is going to be and they're trying to get travelers back, and granted, that was just one example, but I would say, screw the hotels. I'm going to an Airbnb and at least I have my own house, my own apartment, my own whatever, and I'm home away from home, basically, but I control my things, because if I'm paying extra for the hotel and then these guys are nothing but putting more barriers to me going anywhere, but then I don't get any reward when I get to the room or this. I mean, everything was identical. The remote control was there, the TV was there, the bathroom, everything, no sanitizers, nothing. There was no, I don't know. I mean, I would expect maybe they have gloves or masks or something. I mean, there was nothing. Nothing. It was all saying, okay, enter here at your own risk. And nobody will talk to you. Even the receptionist or whatever was there was like behind this glass and all the stuff and saying, you need to go here, you need to go there, but don't talk to me. I mean, it was sick. So I think they're going to have a hard time adjusting, to be honest. So as far as travel, I think people are ready. I mean, I saw lots of families, some kids, some parents and children and all together, and going to restaurants at the airports, and they were obviously ordering to take away. They could not eat at the restaurants, but yeah, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't too bad. So in that sense, I think airlines are trying to pick up as much as they can. Now, advertising campaigns like we were discussing, I think, it depends on the market. I think I would probably do more local, knowing that people will travel less maybe until they feel more comfortable with the travel experience, and I would advertise more the local crowd, the local traffic. And then just
yeah, but I mean, depends who you are. You're a hotel, are you a resort, are you a part of a chain, are you an independent? I mean, all those things factor into the marketing plan. So yeah, if you're an independent resort, your marketing plan might be one thing, but if you're Marriott, then it's a totally different plan. So staycation works if you're a resort. Who staycations at a courtyard?
No, obviously not. This is just an example of no staycation. This is just basically, but you have what they call the FIT, the frequent independent traveler. This is the traveler that is basically traveling for business or something. That
but that's the other thing. That most of the hotels that make money, like the courtyard you stayed at,
right.
If it's in DC, I'm gonna guess they get lots of political travelers and business travelers.
Yeah, government. Whatever,
well,
just
all those people are not traveling now. So
right.
if you get your business majority from business travel, you're in trouble, because I don't think business travel is coming back anytime soon.
Right, exactly.
Because everybody says, we'll have a Zoom call and we'll be fine.
Right.
So they're in trouble. Now, if you're a resort, maybe you can start opening things up, offering vacations, offering special deals, because obviously people want to get out of there. I don't know. But yeah, the biggest thing, though, is the restrictions and the regulations. There's nothing you can do if there's travel restrictions. So just pay attention to that. And the second you can start opening things up again, do it. I mean, I don't know.
How about for retail? Will you put your advertising money into your online store that you'll be trying to develop, grow, and drive traffic to in the pandemic, or do you start opening, saying...
What type of retail? Am I a national chain, local mom and pop? What am I?
No, local mom and pop will probably don't do much, but national chains or, national retail stores that you have stores everywhere, even at malls or things like that.
Yeah, I mean, easier said than done, but I would go all in on my e-com infrastructure. Now, that's not something that can just be done overnight, and a lot of the companies who basically already had the infrastructure did well. Those who didn't are going bankrupt, basically, as we speak. Now, if I'm a national retail chain, it depends on exactly what I'm selling. If I'm selling clothing or whatever. If I'm like Kohl's recently opened up, right? I think Kohl's strategy is interesting because they're partnering heavily with Amazon. They can do that at their own risk. I would never partner with Amazon because I think Amazon...
they're partnering for the drop-off on deliveries or returns.
For returns and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you hear that Amazon is going to buy... Well, maybe buying JCPenney?
Yeah, that's been around for...
If that happens, that'll be interesting. But anyways, what would I do if I'm a retail store? Heavy e-com, but also offer curbside pickup. I mean, what a lot of them are doing already, basically. Curbside pickup. Obviously, in the stores, you have to manage social distancing the best you can, kind of compartmentalize certain areas of the stores. I would, if you can, offer free masks at the door for anybody who comes in. Things like that, offer hand sanitizing stations, basic stuff like that. Beyond that, it would be much more just focused on the e-com infrastructure, focus on my fulfillment infrastructure. Because if you can have omni-channel fulfillment, ship to a customer, pick it up in store, curbside pickup. If you go to, for example, if they're buying things at the store, they're gonna have trouble with inventory because one of the things, obviously, people try on things, and once someone tries something on, now they can't let someone else try it on.
Right.
So they're gonna have problems with inventory basically because they don't.
Yeah, I need to see. I don't know exactly how that works with the clothing.
I heard that basically what some of the stores were doing is when someone tries something on, they put it in a basically separate area for 24, 48 hours or something.
Or UV lights or something, or...
Not exactly sure, but yeah, basically no one can touch it for the rest of the day. So if that's the case, you're going to run out of inventory quickly. So I would offer basically... if someone comes in the store and wants something, but we probably don't have it in inventory.
The thing with the retail is that I don't understand the difference between somebody tries something on or somebody just touching the clothing, different sizes at the rack. I mean, that's kind of tricky too.
Yeah,
I will be curious to see how that happens because I haven't been to a retail store, but I don't know if I go. Typically, I go to shirts or whatever, and I'm looking.
No,
at
I know what
sizes
you
and
mean.
all that
If
stuff.
you're looking at a size, you're looking.
Right,
Yeah,
I look them up and see how they fit, whatever, and then I finally pick.
maybe
a
they
couple
have
of them.
associates doing that for you now.
Right. So it'll be interesting. But,
If they can, I would even offer delivery, which is I know something that many of the stores were already looking to offer, and they were partnering. Like I know Postmates partnered with. Who do they partner with? I forget who, but some retail clothing stores back in January before all this happened. I would continue pursuing that infrastructure. That's the number one thing that matters right now.
Right.
If you have the infrastructure, basically this really exposed who has the infrastructure and who doesn't. Because
it has
those who
exposed
didn't,
a lot of things. Yeah.
they got really hurt.
And also talking about social distancing is such a stupid thing, to be honest, because I mean you like all the retail store, all the public locations have these social distancing instructions in place. They have the stickers on the ground, stand here, the next person is 6 feet apart, in line to pay or in line to pick up food or whatever. I mean, they have all these instructions. People just don't follow that stuff. They're all over the place. I mean,
yeah, I know. I mean, here in Arizona, the different cities in our state started mandating actually today that you have to wear masks in public.
In certain places, not in outdoors.
Yeah, I think anywhere that's a public building.
Right.
Anywhere, basically.
Right.
Now, okay. Yeah, okay. But how are you going to police that?
I know.
Have police
but
in
even
every store?
just an example that I gave you, when we were, I was in the plane, and you board the plane, and they have this social distancing board that is different.
People don't know how to wear masks.
No.
When you wear a mask, if you anybody who's a doctor or a nurse or anybody will tell you, when you you're not supposed to be touching the mask. That's where the virus is. The point is that it gets stuck outside the mask. But if you're constantly touching the mask, you're just touching the virus.
Not only that, I mean,
and adjusting it and all of that.
Exactly.
You're supposed to basically put it on, not touch it, and when you're ready to take it off, just throw it in the trash.
This is how people treat the masks, including myself. I want to say people because I did the same thing. But you have the mask because you have to wear it.
The funniest thing you told me was when you were going through TSA, they made you take it off so they could see your ID for your face.
You have it on because you're supposed to have a distance before going to TSA. And then when you are with the guy with your ID or your phone down and your ID, then he says, could you pull it down because I need to see your full face. I was like, okay. And then after this, I'm touching the trays to put my stuff. But the other thing is that I was thinking, what is the analogy that I can find how people treat their own masks? And the best analogy I can find is like you have glasses on. Like, when you have glasses, whether it's sunglasses or reading glasses or something, and you're constantly, okay, close distance, I'm going to put them on. Distance, I'm going to take them off. I put them in my purse, I take them off, I put them on. You're constantly touching, adjusting, Well, that's how the mask is. I mean, people were like taking the mask off, putting it back on the seat next to them, and then, please wear your mask. Okay, here it is. I'll pull it down. I'm going to drink something, put it back on. I mean, and it's like, what a farce. That's just a charade or stupid shit.
The only benefit of the masks. So, first of all, those masks the normal surgical masks don't keep the virus out. You need N95 or better to keep the virus out. So the only thing they're doing is stopping you from spreading. So the benefit of the mask is if everybody's wearing a mask, nobody can spread it to each other. So that's basically it. So it's almost like a social contract of
that, and
I'm doing this for you, you're doing that for me.
Right. And at the distance. But the other thing that I was telling you is that you board the plane with all this discipline, and then obviously the social distance is over once you start going through the aisle, and you basically have persons on the left or on the right, because the planes are doing now, the sitting is window or aisle and leaving the middle seat
Which
open.
is the other thing that they can't do that forever. They'll go out of business.
Plus, you have maybe one seat, which is, I don't know, maybe a foot and a half between you and the person next door or next side. But then you have a person right behind you that is breathing down your neck. Right. I mean, it's not even... I mean,
planes are not designed to be...
But not only that, when you arrive and the captain brings the little thing saying, okay, you can stand up and get your luggage, it's exactly the same as before. Everybody stands up, everybody's on top of each other, grabbing up the luggage and everything, and then breathing down each other's neck, just waiting for the gate to open. And it's like, what is the social distance? There's no space on the plane for everybody to be 6 feet apart.
The true solution is, the planes need to be at capacity for them to make money anyways. It's not a high margin business. And then even with middle seats empty, it's like, okay, but
No, yeah,
you're still
exactly.
next to people.
You still have
The
60%
the only
of the
way, what airlines are going to have to do is just basically make sure that sick people don't get on the plane, basically.
Right.
That's
right.
what they're going to have
Just
to do.
basically
They're going to have to basically, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if down the road, the airlines basically make you get a test when you go to the airport saying,
Well, that was the thing that you and I discussed,
Right.
the health ID or the health passport or
I
whatever.
wouldn't do a health passport and tracing and all of that, but if they have the quick
In some places, they have temperature checking. They check
yeah,
your
but even the
which
temperature,
is-
that's the thing. They say you cannot have a temperature and still have it.
Right,
You could
right.
be asymptomatic. So, I don't know. There's
yeah,
no
it's-
easy solution.
The world really is not really for this kind of
no.
thing.
I mean, I
So-
couldn't believe New York City already opened up the subways
Oh, yeah, that's true.
when they just, I mean, they had the worst,
I
they were
know.
the worst impacted out of everybody. They
And,
just
and,
barely
and there's
got out
and
of
there's
it.
subways, not like a steel yard that have
Oh
like
my God, no, it's disgusting.
it's yeah, exactly.
And it's
so
like they opened it back up. I was like, okay. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll see. I mean, the cases are already going back up. We'll see how the hospitalization.
yeah, I mean,
deaths
I'm not
go.
super concerned with everybody. I mean, the headlines always say, "Oh, cases spiking up," stuff, and I know for
Well,
a fact
I don't look at headlines. I just look at. You can go look at the data.
the data. Oh no, exactly. The data is
See it's
basically
going up.
the
Which
cases.
obviously I expected it to go up. If you have nobody going out and all of a sudden you have
Yeah,
protests
and-
and subways open and all this.
Yeah, but not only that, you had
everybody's gonna
nobody
be getting
being
it.
tested, and now tested is more available. So I mean, you can go to the pharmacy or
Yeah, but
drive-through.
testing was more available 3 weeks ago too. Testing availability hasn't gone up in the last 3 weeks.
It has.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, when they announced that it was going to be available in drive-throughs, it was only in selected places stuff. Now pretty much CVS, you can drive through and get a
Yeah,
test.
but that was
of-
the case 3 weeks ago too.
Yeah, maybe, but how many people actually did it? I don't know. Maybe because they were still at home, they were not testing, and now when they start going
Well, if
out
you're
and
at
back
home,
to
you're not
work,
going to get it.
well, exactly, that's what I'm saying.
But
That-
now if you go out and then you get it, then you got it.
I don't
so
know.
Cases are
Yeah,
up.
I don't know. I mean, as long as the system, the hospital system and ICU, some of the stuff are
Well,
not
yeah, but
overwhelmed.
that's kind of what's happening now.
Right.
The hospitals are basically
If
saying
you
we're
start-
going to have to go back to the same procedures we were just
Right.
on.
All right, we'll see how that goes. All right, so final topic for the day is the DST of the digital services tax. I mean, this is something that I don't think we ever discussed here in the on the pod here ourselves.
I think we might have a long time ago
It's-
because this has been going on for a
yeah,
long time.
they basically
like last year I think.
Yeah, it started last year. Actually, it started in 2018, and then they implemented
Clarify
it.
what it is for everybody.
Yeah, basically is what is called the digital services tax, and it started in France, where the government said we need to start taxing
France, the global hub of innovation.
Okay, we need to start taxing tech companies. They didn't want to just point the American companies, but obviously ended up being like that. They wanted to tax tech companies that make a certain amount of profits or revenues. Some of them coming from their countries or advertising and revenues in their own countries. So they pay a tax depending on where they are on revenues that pay in their country of reporting their taxes. And this is different than the fact that they may be having a lower tax rate because they have something in Ireland or this or that. This is just basically a flat tax, almost like a value-added tax on revenues just across the board. So they came up with this law or this new, what they call the digital services tax, which they call the 21st century tax too, because it was something new because it didn't exist, in the 20th century, where they were going to tax tech companies that make over 750 million euros in revenue globally, or 25 million euros in France. That's what they say, and it was in quotes. So the bottom line is that this tax affected primarily Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, to the point that it was nicknamed the GAFA tax. And so they say, there was a lot of controversy with that, and then it started saying it's going to be a 3% tax. And the other thing, the tax is on revenues, it's not on profits.
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
I know.
They're out of their minds.
There are so many loopholes on this rule that they created that breaks so many international laws and agreements for commerce in general, saying, oh, we're not going to care about how much money you make or if you invest your profit into reinvesting into your company or in research or development or whatever. We're going to tax you on the revenue, gross revenue. Forget it. And then and the way it was worded, basically, even if the country, whether it's France or Germany or England, Spain or whatever, had a similar company that was also a tech company making revenues, because their global revenues were not at that level, even though their local revenues were higher, they will be exempt from this tax. So very convenient. Anyway, so when that came out, it was a big, fiasco, and then the U.S. fought back against that tax, and Trump basically fired back, saying, "Okay, well, you guys do that, I'm going to tax 100% on anything that comes from France, whether it's wines or perfumes or whatever." And the same thing for the rest of Europe. It was a big thing, and then. And the other thing is that they wanted to make the tax retroactive, effective January 1st, 2019. So it's not like something, okay, once we approve it or whatever, we'll start taxing. No, the tax was effective January 1st of last year. So Macron, Prime Minister of France, and Trump came to an agreement, and they said, okay, we're going to push it back, revisit it, and then see what we do. In the meantime, the other countries, like the UK, Germany, Spain, and Italy and all that stuff, were trying to come off, and some Southeast Asian countries too, like Singapore and all that stuff, they were trying to do something similar. They said, oh, that's a great idea. So they wanted to do the same thing. So obviously, nothing happened for a while. They pushed it back, and now they're kind of back on the table with this thing. All the European countries are so they're broke now that want to get money somehow, and they say, what better way to get money than free taxes from these tech giants that are making a ton of money?
Let me ask you something. How many how many multi-billion European tech companies are there?
Tech companies? I don't know. I know a few. Spotify, is American now, right?
I was gonna say, everyone always says Spotify. One that was started in Sweden.
There's another
based in LA.
There's another streaming music or audio service in France that is very big. It's
but actually, are they global?
Well,
how many global tech companies?
I don't know. I don't know about global. I mean, they have like, for example, they have Orange, the telecom company.
Okay, but that's a telecom company,
right? No, but those are also part of the tech company bracket. So I mean, there's other companies, but. Again, their global revenue.
Okay, but that was a hard question to answer, right?
No, I understand. No, that's the whole thing.
Let me finish. I'll let you go. I'm asking the audience, how many global multi-billion-dollar tech companies have been started in Europe in the last 15 to 20 years? One?
I'm sure there's more.
Multi-billion global tech companies?
Multi-billion, I don't know.
One? I mean, Spotify? Are there others?
Is Shopify German?
Shopify is Canadian.
It's Canadian, okay.
So, I mean, Toby Lucky is from
Germany, I think.
Is he German? Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're based in Canada.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
None.
I mean, obviously,
there's
a few telecom stuff, and there's a few. But
why?
Yeah, it's affecting also like
Why?
Alibaba's and other, Southeast Asian countries.
And why, by the way? Why?
Because it's better to acquire technology than to invent it.
No, it's not that. It's why are Europeans dumber than Americans? They can't invent things? No, it's not because of that. It's because Europe is a regulatory disaster that's been building and compounding upon itself, and their answer to regulatory problems is more regulations always. Okay, especially France. No surprise this law or bill started there. If Europe wants more money and wants to make a lot more money from tech companies, how about they build their own fucking tech companies? That's how you make money. Why do you think America is still the richest country in the world? Because not only were we rich from basically the last century, we've dominated this century too, because we have all of the global tech companies. Minus a couple Chinese companies, the US has basically made all of the global tech companies. Why? Because we let people build companies here. Europe doesn't do that.
Right.
There's a reason why in Europe, whenever there's a startup from Europe, they basically, as soon as they start gaining traction, all the VCs tell them, get the fuck out of there. You can't be in Europe and be a VC-backed company.
Right. No. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just I'm disagreeing with anything.
Are dumb or not as inventive. It's that they are burdened with mass regulations. Mm-hmm. That's why, and that's what's holding them back.
But the amazing thing for me is how any kind of government can come with this kind of regulation or this kind of tax, which is so much against international commerce laws everywhere.
They're out of their mind.
First of all, you never tax on revenues.
Yeah, if they think they can take 3% revenue, they can fuck off. I mean,
well, that's exactly.
If I'm Google, I say, okay, fine, no more Google in France. Build your own.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole dispute. Is Google, is Amazon, is Facebook, whatever. So or like the US is saying, I say, okay, you tax that, then we'll tax everything that comes from France. I don't care if it's wines, perfumes, watches, whatever, jewelry, fashion.
Or
I mean, they have a lot of industry.
If I'm Google, I say, okay, 3% tax. All right, well, we're just going to basically increase all of our ad rates in France by 10% to make up for it. So thank you. Facebook, same thing. If I'm Amazon, my normal 15% cut of all sales, I'm going to say, okay, well, in France, it's 20.
Right. I mean, the thing is that, unfortunately, at the end of the day, when all these things are happening, the consumer ends up paying the bill.
The consumer always ends up paying.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly. So if you want
Businesses can't lose
a
money.
French clothing fashion brand, and you're paying already $100 for a purse or something, and now it's taxed another 50% on top of that or whatever, you're gonna end up paying more. Or just deciding to buy something else, which wouldn't be a bad idea anyways. But it's just that money needs to come from somewhere, and the fact that these countries think that they can just say, oh, we're going to tax this company, we're going to create this law that amazingly is not discriminatory, but I refer to it as the GAFA tax, and they say GAFAM because they didn't include Microsoft. They said that it's not discriminatory against the US companies, but guess what? You even in your own Congress, being the the economic minister of France, you actually refer to it dozens of times as the GAFA tax. Okay, well, that's basically custom made.
By the way, I'm not. Listen, I've been very vocal against a lot of the things Amazon and Google and all these companies do, but the answer to beating them is not regulation. It's actually the opposite. Like GDPR was the same thing. GDPR was intended to hurt them, but it just helped them in the end. Because they basically, for Google, it's no big deal to comply with GDPR. Oh, we have to spend a few more million a year in lawyers and making sure that we're basically complying with all these laws. Okay, fine. But for small businesses, they don't have that money. And so it helps basically the bigger platforms when you add these regulations. Big platforms, established companies can afford to basically legalese their way around regulations. Small companies can't. Up-and-coming platforms can't. So you're actually hurting the small guys that are trying to compete with the Googles and Amazons of the world. So the answer is not more regulation. And especially, tax on revenue. What kind of bullshit is that?
I know. Yeah,
come on.
We'll see. This is something that I just started coming back to the headlines the last 2-3 days. And even Mnuchin, our Department of Secretary of the Treasury said that when they were bringing it up again, he basically walked away and said, you know what, I don't have time to dedicate to this piece of shit tax right now. I have more important things to worry about.
The United States is one of the biggest buyers of French bonds.
Well, no, I know.
We're not buying bonds.
And that's why when they double down on this, and then we say, okay, well, we're the biggest consumer country in the world right now, and we buy things from all of you more than you buy from us.
Right.
So let's see what happens, because we can do the same thing here. We can say, okay, we're going to tax all your luxury goods companies, which is basically saying all the cars or whatever, everything that comes
LVMH,
yeah,
the biggest luxury company in the world.
Right, exactly. Or any fashion brand is French, or a lot of stuff, perfumes and anything in the fashion industry too. So not just that.
And I said, these companies, if they end up passing this law, and Amazon now has to pay 3% of revenue, they're just going to increase their fees on sellers, and it's just going to hurt French sellers more.
Right.
That's all they're going to do. Amazon's not going to lose money. You think Jeff Bezos is in the business of losing money?
But that's the thing.
No.
They're still paying their taxes, in their countries plus their local countries. So
yeah, exactly. They pay sales taxes or VAT over in Europe. They pay those.
Right.
Okay. But if you want to add more, they're basically, we in the U.S., you can talk about corporate tax law and all of that and loopholes, and I'm not disagreeing with you. But at the end of the day, we collect a ton of corporate taxes because we have a ton of huge corporations here. Mm-hmm. France doesn't have a ton of huge tech companies to collect taxes from,
right,
basically. And so because of that, they want more. Okay, build your own tech companies. That's the answer, okay?
Right.
If Europe wants to make money from tech, build tech.
All right, we'll leave it at that, because I think it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves, as basically economies across the world, including ours, will be pretty shuttered after this pandemic. And who recovers faster is who's stronger. I think the US, I always said that we'll recover much faster. Whether faster means right away or in years, I don't know. But it's definitely going to be faster than pretty much any other country in the world. So, but any other country is going to try to resort to whatever they can do to gather money. And if they cannot print it themselves, they're going to try to get it somewhere else. And this is one of the ways. So we'll leave it there. Food for thought. If you have any ideas or questions, comments, as always, just leave us a comment at mgrunplugged.com or mgredge.com. And that's all we have for this week, actually. Anything, parting thoughts or anything, David?
No, that's it.
Excited? Okay. Yeah. It's getting hot. It's time to get... Summer is actually officially starting in 2-3 days, 21st June or something.
I don't know. It started a long time ago here in Arizona.
Yeah, in Arizona, we don't know. We started summer like right after New Year's, I guess. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening today. And we'll be back next week with more stuff. All right. Thanks. Bye. See you.